Shalom Chaverim, welcome back to our discussion of Sichos HaRan from Rabbi Nachman. We are going to look at Sicha number 15 today, which is a really puzzling Sicha, but also introduces some very deep ideas without using a whole lot of words. So if you're in the BRI version of Rabbi Nachman's Wisdom, we're going to be on page 119, and it's just two short paragraphs. Reb Nosson begins by telling us, the Rebbe said that it takes both wisdom and great effort to be like an animal. The wisdom one needs to be like a beast is alluded to in the verse from Shmos. Every wise-hearted man whom God bestowed wisdom is a beast. There's a little wordplay going on here. The Hebrew, depending on how you vowelize it in that verse, it can be read that every wise-hearted man whom God bestowed wisdom in them, bahema, or is a beast, behema. So this is a really puzzling thing for Rabbi Nachman to say, isn't it? It says that he says it takes both wisdom and great effort to be like an animal. We're going to come back to this idea in a second, but first I want to read the second paragraph, because at first glance, the second paragraph seems to say the opposite. Rabbi Nachman said, it is also written, God saves man and beast, and our sages say this refers to people who are wise and clever and conduct themselves humbly like an animal. This is also the meaning of Asaf's words in Tehillim, I was a fool, I did not know, I was like an animal before you. So in the second paragraph, Rabbi Nachman is giving these examples where somebody says, somebody can be wise and clever and still behave like an animal, and then maybe that's not such a good thing. And then he's also citing this very explicit pasuk that says, I was a fool, I was like an animal before you. But at the beginning, he says, it takes both wisdom and great effort to be like an animal. All right, Chaver, let's dig into this a little bit, because it is a little bit confusing at first glance. So one of the things that we've been looking at and we've been talking about in the previous Sichos that we've discussed is that when somebody gets on a path towards serving Hashem, and they're trying to make improvements in their life, in the area of avodas Hashem, their service of their Creator, of Ribono Shel Olam, that obstacles can get in their way. That when a person is making these, putting one foot in front of the other and heading in a good direction, that the Yetzer Hara steps in and starts attacking and puts obstacles in your path and doubts in your mind and causes all sorts of problems and causes you to doubt your ability to see this new path through. We've talked about that at length. So what does it mean that it takes great wisdom and tremendous effort to be like an animal? What do we know about animals? We know that the other animals, other than ourselves, that the other animals, at least as far as we understand, they act on instinct. They don't necessarily think things through in the way that a human being does. And one of the things that is our great advantage over the animals is our ability to think things through, to think through the consequences of our actions, and to make wise and informed decisions about what we're going to do. That's one of the things that makes us uniquely human. But what Rabbi Nachman is suggesting here is that sometimes that wisdom, that ability to think through all the options, actually can get into our way, that it can be a source of those obstacles. All of us can think of a moment when we were about to do something that maybe we had practiced or rehearsed over and over again. Maybe we were about to play a game of basketball, or we were about to sing the national anthem at the ballpark, or we were about to give the sales pitch for our new idea to the board of directors. We can all think of an example of a time when we had practiced and rehearsed and we knew that we knew the right way to do things. And yet when that moment came, when it was time to actually follow through, maybe we got those butterflies in our stomach and we stopped for a moment and we started to doubt. Am I really able to do this? And if we were wise, we probably at some point in that process started kind of talking to ourselves. And we said, you need to get out of your own head. You know this. You've got this. You know what to do. Get out of your head. Right? What does that expression mean? Get out of your head. It means that you're trying to prevent yourself from getting derailed by this beautiful gift that we have of this mind that allows us to think through all the possibilities, including maybe some outcomes that aren't so good. And those can scare us off from doing what we know we're able to do. I think what Rabbi Nachman is talking about here when he says it takes great wisdom and effort to be like an animal is he's saying that sometimes we need to get out of our own head. We all have a neshama that knows intrinsically what is right and what is wrong. We, like the animals, have some instincts. And our neshama comes pre-wired with this knowledge of what's good for us and what's bad for us. And because we're created in B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of our Creator, we have a natural instinct to want to do good and to want to do the right thing. But if we're too much in our head, we can get in our own way. And that's when these obstacles pop up in our path and these doubts start to invade our minds. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe you don't really know what to do. And what Rabbi Nachman here, I think, is saying is that because we're hardwired to think through things and to make sure that we've considered all the possible outcomes, it does take great wisdom and great effort to know when to turn that voice in your head off and when to rely on the instinct of your neshama to just do the right thing, that you know, that you've known your whole existence what the right thing is to do. So when he says behave like an animal, he's not saying that we should, be a bull in a china shop and go around knocking things over and living without thought or consequences. What he's saying, he's continuing on this idea that's been developed in the previous Sichos. He's saying that when we make the decision that we're going to move in this path of Avodas Hashem, that we're going to make improvements in our service of our Creator, that mamash at that point, we have to be able to get out of our own head and be more like an animal, act more on instinct, and just go straight down that correct path that we've always known was the right one. So that's Sicha number 15. Bezras Hashem, we'll look at Sicha number 16 sometime soon. Thanks for tuning in.